this.
Greetings and salutations. I'm going to share a little story with you guys about how I basically rose to the top of basketball in the UK for my age group in just a matter of a couple of years. I haven't been playing competitively for that many years. I haven't been playing since I was 4 years old, but I've achieved quite a bit in my time. What can I say? Let's start right at the beginning. How did this all even start? I first started playing basketball around the age of 12. It was really casual at the start, just playing with friends in the park or just doing it during PE lessons at school. I was really bad. Really bad. But I wasn't trying to take it too seriously at the time. It was just more of a fun kind of hobby to do. So now I'm playing, and I'm 13 years old now. I want to try out for one of the best teams in my area. So I go to one of their trial basketball sessions, and the level between me and them was, crazy. I was tall at the age of 13, 14. I was already like 6 foot tall, but the skills just weren't there. Whilst I was at that, basketball trial session for the team, one of the players who were already on the team came up to me during like a break and asked me, "Oh, do you play football?" And I was like, yeah, because I did play football, but again, it was just casual. I mean, I was a bit confused as to why he was asking me whether I played football or not. And then when I said yeah, he was like, "Oh, maybe you should stick to that then. Basketball's not really for you."
What did he say?
That's the first kind of event that really sparked that hunger inside of me to absolutely get better in basketball. I hate it when people, even someone that I don't even know, is telling me that I can't achieve something, or just when people tell me that I can't do something in general, that motivates me like nothing else, because how dare you say that I can't do something. If I want to do something, I will do it. So that kind of pissed me off. That did piss me off. Another guy who may not have been as thick-skinned may have just given up. They might have been downhearted. They did want to get better, but now people are telling them not to even bother trying. From there, I started to take things a lot more seriously, Instead of going to the park with my friends, I'd be grinding by myself in the park, even doing laps around the court, trying to build my fitness, working on dribbling. And as I said, I was already around 6 foot when I was around 13, 14. So I'm starting to get interested in dunking, I want to hit my first dunk, because that's pretty much unheard of in the UK unless you're top talent, like dunking at the age of 14. So that's when my dunk journey started as well. I'm in the park every single weekend when there's no school, dunking, practicing my dribbling, practicing my shooting. And I actually did hit my first dunk at the age of 14, which is pretty impressive. From me, just going to the park, playing by myself, the skill level between me and my friends, I could see was starting to depart from each other. I was getting a lot better. I realized that I did want more, because I've improved a lot. So I want to play for a team. So I trial for another team now, and I'm 14 at this time. And this team is a really good team. They literally traveled around the country playing the top basketball teams for our age groups, under 16s. They had 2 under 16 teams, the first team and the second team. So the first team would play against the top teams in the country, and then the second team would just play locally, against other smaller teams in the region. And obviously I wanted to make that first team. Over the summer we'd be training, and then just before the season starts is when it's decided as to who's on team 1, who's on team 2. What did give me a bit of an advantage was I could dunk. Again, like I said, it's pretty much unheard of, especially in the UK, being 14 and dunking. That did give me a slight edge, but everything else compared to all the other players who'd been playing for years, couldn't compare to them. They were way better at shooting than me, they were way better at dribbling. But by the end of the summer, I ended up making the first team. Thank you. The first game comes around now, and obviously I'm filled with excitement. Like, it's my first competitive basketball game, and I'm in the top division for my age group. I don't think I even scored, like, I only played a couple of minutes. It's really intense, it's really loud, there's a lot of energy. I just got a small taste and I wanted more of it, so that motivated me even more, you know, because I want to get more minutes, I want to become better. I guess you could say I was the worst of the best at the time, because I was playing on this great Premiership team, but everyone else was still better than me. The only thing I could really do was dunk. Obviously the guys who could shoot or could do better layups or could dribble better are going to play longer than me. You know, the season's going on, I'm working on my skills, I'm getting a lot better, I'm climbing up the ranks, but I still feel like my talents aren't really being recognised. You know, I'm still playing only a couple of minutes a game, not scoring many points. I feel like I'm not really developing because I don't get much experience when it actually counts in the actual season games. If you've ever played a sport like basketball or something, or football, you know that there's always that one person that like only comes on at the end for the last couple of minutes when everything's all said and done, like the match is decided. And it's kind of like an empathy, kind of pity thing, because you don't want them to feel like they've come all this way for no reason or something. So you give them the last 5 minutes. Like, it's not really going to make a difference anyway. They're not going to make an impact whether they do well or not. I was that kind of player in my first season. My coach just didn't really want to put me on, and I get it. I mean, coming from a rational standpoint, you're going to put the players on who give you a higher chance of winning, right? But from the player's standpoint, when you're in that position, it's going to feel a little disheartening because you really want to get better. You've got that hunger inside of you, but because, you know, all the other guys are more experienced than you, you don't get to gain that experience. Like, you don't get the minutes. So how can one develop? How can one get better if they can't get the experience? It's like, that's just how I felt at the time. So we're nearing the end of the season now, and COVID strikes. Yay! We all know how fun that was. We didn't get to play the last few games of the season, I think, you know, around March 2020. That was grind time for me. Throughout the whole kind of 6 month period that I didn't have any school, I was just grinding. Like, the parks around my area were locked by the government because, you know, social distancing, COVID, stay at home. So I'd just be working on my handles, working on my dribbles in my garage or in my garden, just doing anything. I literally every single day, you know, sometimes twice a day at times, just working non-stop. I got a lot better because I knew what I needed to work on from my first season of, you know, being on a team. My shooting got better, my dribbling got better, and when the parks did open up, you know, I could practice on the hoops again, practicing my dunking. The next season came around now. I'm 16 years old, we're now playing under 18s, and I'm a lot better. Like, my skill levels caught up to everyone who was on my team. COVID was still having an effect, you know, 2020, 2021, so we didn't actually have a season. So more or less my second year of competitive basketball, kind of just being on a team, was more training. Like, with our under 18s team, because it was an academy, it was training basically 5 days a week, on a couple of days, twice a day. Because now we were the younger guys, you know, we moved up to under 18, there were guys that were much better than me, and I would learn from them. You know, I'd get my ass kicked every single training session, but as the months were on, I felt myself catching up to them. You know, I was learning, I was understanding, you know, what I shouldn't do. And the skill level was closing in. I was closing in on them. At this time, I'm really understanding what my strengths are, what I really need to take advantage of. So yeah, we didn't play many actual basketball matches because, you know, COVID strict guidelines. We did have a couple of friendlies, and that was really good to, you know, to test my skills out. So as I said, you know, the skill set was closing in. I'm getting a lot better. As soon as I feel like I'm getting so good at basketball, COVID strikes again. Round 2. This, you know, COVID lockdown thing was, I did the exact same thing that I did the previous year. You know, grinding in my garden, grinding in the garage, working on my handles. I'm just eager to, you know, have a competitive season. I want to prove myself, because the only actually real competitive season I had, I didn't get much experience, but I just wanted to play. The next season comes around. COVID's pretty much, you know, gone at this point, so basketball is back on. We're gonna have a season, we're gonna play games, and I'm excited. So at this time, you know, I'm around 17 now then. First game comes around and I scored 22 points. There was literally like a whole newsletter about our first game on for our school website and everything. That was the best way I could have started the season off, because I proved to myself what I thought in my head, that I was one of the best on my team now, from, you know, being one of the worst people on my team 2 seasons back. Before that point, I don't think I'd even ever scored 10 points in a game. So this was my first actual season, how I like to think of it, where I could actually prove myself, where I actually knew what I could do. And it was a great season, great season. I was a starter. I felt like I had a really important role. I had an impact on all the basketball games, whether we won or lost. It wasn't a thing of, you know, I'd just be playing the last 2 minutes of the game, like in my first season. I could hold my own against some really good teams. Like I said, it's under 18s now, so I even played a guy who was 7'3" and I had to defend him. But I held my own. I got a couple points on him. Every single time I had a game, I just had butterflies in my stomach. I was just so excited to play. I loved it. Like, we won our regionals tournament. 5 straight games in a row against other teams in our region, which allowed us to go to nationals, and that was amazing. Like, it was basically a whole experience where all the top level athletes in the UK come together, just battle it out. We went to some nice university and you'd stay there for a couple of days and just play a bunch of games against other teams all across the UK. For damn near every single sport you can think of. Football, tennis, badminton, athletics, all the sports were there, so it was literally a hub of just fantastic under 18 talent, and it was a great feeling because you were recognized as a high level athlete. Like, I didn't even think I was an athlete really, but now I'm at nationals playing against some of the best competition in the UK. It's just a crazy feeling. And what was the best thing about it was I felt like I kind of deserved to be there, because I wasn't just riding on the success of my teammates. I actually had an impact on, you know, winning all the games at regionals, which allowed us to get to nationals in the first place. As you know, like, I got my first dunk at 14, and it's great, yeah, you know, to dunk, but what's really great is to be able to dunk in game. Get in-game dunks is just like, it's literally just a boss move in basketball. Like, ever since my first season, I wanted to get an in-game dunk. Like, that was my dream. In this season, it actually happened. Like, it was electric. Because I'd wanted that for so long. And we unfortunately didn't make it to the finals in the academy, but we had a really strong season. Coach said we were one of the strongest teams that the school has ever seen, because we were the first ones to ever make it to nationals and win regionals. So it's just crazy looking back on my basketball journey, you know, from age 12, you know, just playing in school casually, playing in the park with friends, to then grinding and hustling and all this kind of stuff, to becoming one of the best in literally just a space of 3-4 years. So it just goes to show, if you want to become the best at what you do, you can, but you're gonna have to work for it. So if you take anything away from this, it's that you should never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.